It's Nines and it's Play Nines. Welcome. Another Anthem video. If you're looking forward to playing Anthem when it releases and you want to keep up to date on all the latest news and information, feel free to click the like button and subscribe to my channel. I upload videos every week covering any and all news about Anthem, so look out for that. So in this video, let's talk about Bioware's apparent radio silence concerning Anthem and why we barely get any new news about this game, and quite possibly why this might be a good thing. So back in early October 2017, our last bit of new information came by the way of a tweet by Jonathan Warner, who is the game director at Bioware and the director for Anthem. He tweeted about Anthem's milestone review. If you don't know what that is, I did a video covering that topic. I'll leave a link to that in the description. But basically, it's a way to track the development progress of a video game by making sure it meets certain goals. And since then, it's been very quiet. And although we see members of the Bioware team such as Brennan Holmes, Bioware's creative director, on the game's official subreddit, chiming in on topics, interacting with fans, and posting on the sub, which is great by the way, seeing the creative director so active on the sub, but he's very cautious not to go into deep details about the progress of Anthem. You might see his comment on a post. He might speak of taking suggestions from fans to bring up at the next meeting, or ask for feedback from fans about features they may want to see in the game, but he never really goes further than that. And here's why I think we don't hear much about the game. Anthem is still in development and is supposed to launch sometime in late 2018. Making any announcements now with a release date so far away, with many aspects of gameplay subject to change, could cause a lot of commotion in the player base. Especially if you talk about a feature that doesn't make it into the game, or the ones that don't make it into the game due to some type of difficulty like hardware or software limitations, could cause a major backlash from fans, especially if you advertise it or show it off in your gameplay, trailers, or reveals. I mean, how many times have we seen a trailer for a video game with impressive graphics only to see that upon release it received a massive downgrade visually? I can also remember one time when Destiny was just announced and they held a press-only demo gameplay playthrough, and the person playing the demo did a pan of the sandbox and said, "All this is playable space." Then sometime later, months after the game was released, someone made a video of themselves going to that same exact spot and tried going to the playable space that was spoken about in the video and was not able to. He kept encountering a kill barrier and kept dying. Besides that, the game was buggy. There were crashes, there were issues with the servers, and the fixes for certain issues took forever to be dealt with. And during that time, it was like a shitstorm of players listing all the stuff that was promised and never made it into the initial release of the game. This led to a lot of toxicity within Destiny, and rightfully so. The initial release of Destiny was a mess. Visiting the Bungie.net forums at that time, you'd be blasted by post after post after post of complaints. After witnessing that, I can understand why developers may be reluctant to communicate everything with its fans. And here's the other side to that. Too much info and you get called out for spoiling the game. Too little info and it's considered refusing to communicate with the fans. Finding that sweet spot can be a difficult task, and few have done it successfully. Plus, lots of fans just don't understand that game development is very secretive, and there's an entire hierarchy to go through before someone can make any mention of what's going on to the game. They wouldn't want the wrong message about the game getting out there to change fans' reception of the game, which might translate into poor sales or early sales drop-off. Some fans can also be downright hostile, swearing and cursing at the devs, harassing devs, questioning their competence, and even making death threats to them or their families. And yes, that's going way too far. Fans can be overzealous, and sometimes that can translate into us being too harsh on developers. I mean, with all that, you can see why developers may fear to speak out about the game because of the type of criticisms they might receive. And I'm not saying devs should be immune to criticism, but there's a point where criticism turns into outright harassment. And I know that the industry right now is very shady. There are lots of underhanded practices, especially with loot boxes, but a lot of us just don't understand the amount of hard work it takes to make video games and the choices that are made. Some of the choices might be out of the hands of the developers and may lie with the publisher. And again, I don't mean the game or the devs shouldn't be criticized, it just needs to be constructive. And that doesn't mean we shouldn't call out video games with bad practices either. The more attention issues like pay-to-win loot boxes get can make the game better and the industry as a whole. And sometimes you just can't please everyone. The thing is, developers actually want to talk about their game. In this case with Anthem, you can see how active the creative director is on Anthem's subreddit. I bet if he could, he'd tell us about the challenges they face, the new features they built in, and the problems they've overcome. So now that we have an understanding of how the developers feel, here's why I think radio silence is good. It benefits the community. It allows the community to be creative, thinking of designs, creating artwork and fan art, posting what we expect from the game, what we want to see as features in-game, talking about stories, loot and weapons, and even mechanics. It promotes discussion. Fans will talk about the latest gaming trends and how they will affect the game, as in the case with loot boxes and the controversy that stirred up recently. It also helps the community to stay active around new ideas and philosophies as it relates to the game. It also builds hype. Gamers huddle around the tiniest bit of new information, fostering growth, renewed interest in the game, and people keep coming back to check out what's new or hope to find something new. I also want to point out that there might be some negatives to the radio silence. None of these are confirmed, but sometimes it can mean trouble in the development of the game that can cause delays or even cancellations. But like I said before, none of this is actually confirmed, nor have we heard anything such as that. Although recently the lead animator Steve Gilmore left the studio, but Bioware QA reassured us on Reddit that it's no big deal, stating there's lots of people that have worked for Bioware for a long time and they are still there, with some leaving and returning, so don't read into departures too much. Okay, that's what I think about Bioware's apparent radio silence. Comment in the comment section and tell me how you feel about the lack of communication from Bioware regarding Anthem. Subscribe if you want to stay up to date on all the latest news concerning Anthem. It's Nines and it's been nice. Laters.